Number 5, what I learned today, that Teemu Selanne is on Twitter. I learned that Teemu is on Twitter. I was not aware of that. But Teemu not happy, and I'm sure the whole country of Finland not happy, because if you missed it, Nathan MacKinnon with 2:30 left sold a high stick. It was a high stick. If you break down the tape, but he went DiCaprio on this. Like, he went kind of Kramer and Newman.
Yeah.
Remember in that, the JFK
the Giants, or the magical spit or whatever
the
in the
magic
eye?
spit from Keith Hernandez.
Yeah.
Like, he sold it. And, of course, MacKinnon sells it, draws the penalty. MacKinnon ends it. And Teemu Selanne not happy. He popped off on Twitter, not happy with the refs, the whole
And go ahead, people. I told you, find the goal in live real time and watch the ref. His arm does not go up until he hears the crowd.
He hesitated for sure.
If you watch enough hockey, you will see enough crowd influence calls, because the ref doesn't see it, and then it's all you hear is, oh, and then the arm goes up. It's just like clockwork. You see it all the time if you watch games.
Is this anti-Canadian, us kind of selling? It's not a dive. You know, like we've always been, we don't dive, we stand. Don Cherry would be like, what is this? We don't do that. Like, I don't think, like, it wasn't
not
a
dive, but I just don't think, like
it.
we talked about, blood and guts, Stanley Cup, like everything's on the line with a couple minutes left. You typically don't call that. Mm-hmm. That's my only point.
So then let me ask you this. If you don't call it, or would you call it and say that was an embellishment too? And
you know what my philosophy is, Jamie, and I'm not Billy McCreary, and I don't know what Billy McCreary's philosophy is. With 2 or 3 minutes left in a really important game, if you take away somebody in a prime scoring chance, I'm calling a penalty. If you're really egregious and knock somebody out with an elbow, I'm calling a penalty. I'm not calling a riding up stick that clips you on the nose. I'm just not doing it with the stakes that high. That would be my philosophy. But I don't know. The refs saw it different,
listen,
man.
If the roles were reversed, people would be going nuts. As I said earlier, you know, it was a different game, but there were 6 guys on the ice with Czechia, and Canada almost got burned by bad officiating. In the end, Finland still could have stopped them on the power play. You know, Saros, I don't know how you felt about that goal. It was a great play by McDavid.
Yeah, you know what? I think he was tired on the play. He was late a little bit, and it was a great play, but he'd made a couple big saves earlier on that, because McDavid was circling the house and threw it to the Draisaitl spot in the one-timer, and he made a good pad save coming across. Like, I can't lay anything at UC Saros' feet. I thought he gave them a chance. Like, that game looks to me like 4 or 5-2 if he doesn't make a couple big saves, because Marner would have scored on that little dance by Marner, and he fired a blocker side. It was a great save by Saros. But yes, it was a little bit of a squeaker, like a moldy one, right between the skate and the post. But good on MacKinnon. He found the spot, and McDavid sold everything he was doing, because everybody thought he was going back to Makar for the one-timer, and then he rolled his wrist saucer through the seam for MacKinnon.
Beautiful.
Like, that's a hell of a play.
Number 4 on what I learned today, depth scoring is mandatory. I think I knew that, but we talked about getting multiple lines going. That's more about pressure and keeping some of the consistency going and the momentum going. But it was Suzuki into Marner into Reinhart into Theodore before MacKinnon scored that goal. Like, the previous big 4 were depth players. Right. Reinhart has not done anything really in this tournament before. He had a great tip. Suzuki,
dude, there's just so many guys, Brian, 5-on-5, they're just not generating, man. They're not doing it.
No, but you can't, again, you're right. I mean, I guess that's what I'm pointing to. Like, you can bank on MacKinnon. McDavid's going to get his. Celebrini's going to get his. But I think if you're going to beat the Americans, someone else is going to have to score. You're going to have to get a goal or two from a Hagel's got to arrive. Horvat's got to do
rip
something.
One home. Yeah.
Someone else has got to score, because that has happened the last 2 games when they have sweated it out. They needed those depth goals. They're mandatory. It has to happen.
No, I agree. But it's a moment now. Whatever happens on Sunday, if Canada wins, there will be a moment, like for somebody's career, somebody's, a big moment, whether it's, defining moment, a huge save. Like, I think back to Binnington's save on Austin Matthews in the playoffs. 4 Nations, right? That was a moment, right?
Yep.
We just talked about Mitch Marner's moment, last game in overtime, like previous. And if they're going to win on Sunday, there'll be somebody. It might just be Connor McDavid's moment. It might be Nate McKinnon's moment, or, like I say, it'll be a Brandon Hagel goal that is a defining moment that people will remember. The Paul Henderson goal type of thing. That's what
a
we're
depth
looking
player,
for.
exactly.
Yeah.
Most famous goal ever is a depth player.
Yeah.
Number 3, what I learned, the line of Bennett, Marchand, Wilson, Pops, and I'd love to see it in the NHL. It would be my favorite line. Maybe
Do you
ever.
think they could play one game in the National Hockey League with all 3 taking 0 penalties?
Tough. Like on an off night, probably.
Over 82 games, they could find one. But
Yeah.
I think, and in the playoffs, I think they can't because they're so crafty. I know Bennett took one, and it was a stupid one, and it cost them today. But I thought that line got cooking. If I'm John Cooper, I'm leaving it. I'm not going back to Wilson with Celebrini and McDavid. Just start McKinnon with those guys and look at them and say, guys, you're playing 22, 23 minutes tonight. I think you go Bennett, Marchand, Wilson against the Americans. And I play them, and I tell them to do exactly what they would do if we were in North America, if we were in the NHL.
Crazy comment right here, but the guy took a really stupid penalty, but he shows that he is just not pissing around, and he will
Yeah.
Yeah.
like he wants to kill people out
He's
there.
a winner, man.
Yeah, he's a winner. Like
Sam
he just,
Bennett.
as dumb as that penalty was, he is just like, I'll crush anything in my sight. I don't care. I'm here to win.
That's why
which
I
is
said,
respected, but it's also got to be under control.
That's what I said. He's a threat, and that's the thing. When Tom Wilson's on the ice and Sam Bennett's on the ice, just in the NHL, people are aware when those guys are on the ice. He's a threat, and Team USA will know when Sam Bennett's on the ice, and it doesn't matter who. He'll take a chunk of a teammate. We saw that. Marchand was chirping at Mikkola there or whatever.
Totally.
You could see that.
Lindell, they're all out there.
Yeah.
Ristolainen. And listen, Matthew Tkachuk is waiting on Sunday. And that's, it's not the biggest game of his life because, they've won 2 cups and the cups are what they are.
Well,
but
my buddy just texted me, Brian. He said if they throw out Eichel and Tkachuk, don't you throw out McDavid with Wilson and Bennett on the left and say, let's party off the start here, or you don't want to do that?
I don't know. I mean, we talked about that yesterday. Do you throw McDavid into that, or do you try to keep that line away? I mean, Cooper's been coaching his ass off. Like, he's been moving pieces around.
I just think to start the game, it would be amazing theater.
It would be. I might start the Bennett line with Marchand and Wilson against that line and say, let's just drop the puck and see what you got. And if you can get Eichel, get him. If you can get Hughes, get him. Werenski, get him. It's easier said than done. But, those guys, they're going to be ready to fight. Like, they're going to be ready to play and play heavy and get on a forecheck. And it's going to be mandatory that Canada does that. That's the Americans' plan. You know that. They're going to look at this defense and say, we got to lean on these guys.
Well, that's what concerns me slightly is, once you get past McCarr and Taves, it looks different, man.
Yeah,
Parayko's thin. Like, I like him, but Parayko isn't the perennial all-star, right? Like, you look at over on USA, they've got a 4-pack that is as good as anybody.
Yep. That's McAvoy on the other side.
Right, on the back end, right? It's Anderson and Werenski and Quinn Hughes. Mm-hmm. But that's where I would be chipping and chasing into those corners and see if those guys can move the puck out. Because that'll be the only thing that concerns me for Team Canada is you need puck movers. You need to get that puck to the talented forwards. Mm-hmm. And if the U.S. tries to lean on them a little bit, like McDavid had a beautiful pass through the seam. Was it Sanheim that could have walked right to the net? And he took himself to the corner. Mm. Like all I could think of.
It's so hard to get shy. But the one thing is it's so obvious in this. Like guys do such a good. Like they're told when that puck goes to the point, or basically anyone's going to shoot the puck. There is 3 different levels of blocking. Like there's
3 layers. Yeah,
it is so hard to get a shot on net off of a high to low play or just. If you get a broken cycle play, maybe you can break free and get some ice. But if you're going like a standard pass out to the D and the D kind of drags it across, there is 3 different phases of blocking where it's like it's almost impossible to get a shot through.
Yeah,
but you got to find a way.
Well, that's the one thing. You're right. Like as a defenseman, you have to be creative because it isn't just back to the point. You got to get your shot through. But that one where I think you have to attack middle ice, and Sanheim I think found himself in a spot where it's like, hey, this is. unique because there was kind of a lane to the net, and he didn't take it. And I thought to myself, that's
not how you're wired. It's not how you're wired, right?
But that's against the U.S., you're going to have to attack middle ice if it's there for you.
You're right.
That's my point, right?
So we'll see how the lines play out. But I would, if I'm Cooper, I'm keeping that Bennett line together. And I'm playing them, and I'm playing them a fair amount, and I'm trusting them to be heavy and go start the fight. Number 2, what I learned today, Canada's 3-2 win over Finland, is that it feels strange without Sidney Crosby. It was weird watching the best on best play without him. Like we haven't. The last time was in 2006. It's been 20 years since the last time he wasn't right in the middle of everything. Yeah. And if he's not going to play on Sunday, we don't have that answer yet. But if he's not going to play, it's a massive shift in the lineup and the way everything plays out because, before with MacKinnon maybe not at 100%, you could move him up to that top line and trust Sid. Like Sid's your second line center. Great. Awesome. If Sid's not available, you're playing Suzuki there, who's very good, but he's not Sid. No. Bennett, he's very good, not Sid. Different. Sid's a different beast. And in a game like this, we've seen him do it before. We've seen him twice in a gold medal. If he's not there, it's only Doughty that's been there and done it before. And Doughty's, your sixth defenseman that's going to play a bit, but it's not the same without Crosby.
What an emotional boost, though, if he remember Chara came back in Game 7 with the cage on and
and a broken jaw.
Yeah, and everyone was like, it was just amazing theater once again. So if Sid Wheels out there, I can just imagine coming to the rink and Sid's getting his gear on, taping his stick.
87's in the stall, like that. The jersey's laying
that would
in the stall
just
there.
Jack me up, man. That would jack me up to see Sid taping his stick with a coffee with a look on his face.
Ooh,
wow,
I'm jacked for that. I'm praying it happens for his case too, because this is the last dance, man. It's not likely to be there in 4 years. Maybe in 2 if they play a World Cup or something. But you got Canada, U.S. and he's the captain. He's the man. You're right. The idea of him playing him, it's in Milan. It's a different crowd. It's a different rink. But the idea of just watching him hit the ice would be incredible. And hopefully he's close to 100%. He's not going to be, but can he be 80%? I can live with that. Maybe 70%. I think anything under that for me gets a little bit dicey.
So is it been released what the injury is?
No, it's lower body. It sounded like knee based on what Elliott was saying.
Well, I was going to say, did I not read somewhere that they were talking about a brace, like the word brace came involved?
Yes.
So that would suggest knee, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to jump on anything.
No,
but
I believe what Friedman was saying was that his understanding is they were trying to workshop a brace or something and, figure out a way to get him out there. I don't know. If you couldn't find it today, how can you find it on Sunday? Can we not fly a brace over there? Can we not courier a hoodie to the O-Dog and a brace to Sid, please, in Milan?
The hoodie, my understanding is the hoodie is on its way.
Well,
it's been
it's been recovered from the other address?
Rerouted. That's what my intel tells me.
Maybe for the last segment I have it on, boys.
Very positive news. So nice. O's hoodie and a knee brace for Sid, all right? And let's not use O's postal service to get that over there.
Exactly.
And the number one thing I learned, McDavid to MacKinnon lives for 48 hours. Now, it could live for longer if Canada wins gold, right?
Yeah, you're right. If they don't, man, it disappears.
It dies if they lose on Sunday. And it was such a great play. It was such a great goal. It was so perfect that it was those two guys because as important as Sid is, and he is remarkably important, he's the captain, the face, this has always been billed as the McDavid MacKinnon show, right? Yeah. Like this was them in their prime. You watch what they're doing in the NHL, it's absurd. Like they're the best players in the world, and they're jockeying for position in terms of who's better on any given night. Yeah. And, we all grew up around the same time. Like Gretzky to Lemieux is the most famous, 1-2, I think, in my life. Maybe a Gimlet to Sid, clearly. But the just who those two guys are, Lemieux and Gretzky, it just lives in a different world, Gretzky to Lemieux. And I'm not suggesting this is at that level because it can't be. It was the semis. That was a championship game. A Gimlet to Sid was a gold medal game. they have to do it again on Sunday, ideally, if you can. It'd be amazing. But it's what the country was waiting for. A massive moment, McDavid to MacKinnon. You can't script it any better, but it lives for 48 hours. You got to win on Sunday. And then it lives forever if you do. Or you can top it on Sunday. But if the Americans find a way to win gold on Sunday, it becomes a highlight, but it's looked upon differently.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's not as memorable because they didn't win. It didn't lead to anything. It led to a silver instead of a gold.
Right.
So
they're there for gold. They're there for gold. All right, there it is. A little 5-pack looking back in the game.
That's a great list.
Little 5-pack.
I think you've been really doing some special stuff with your lists these days.
You've had a good
like the list.
Iced us out of participating, but it's better when you do them because you're better at them.
Him. He's got the better lists.
That's that's how the shows work, man. The guy that's running the show, he comes up with the lists, and I think they're fantastic.
Well, I appreciate that greatly. We have talked about including everybody, but I do think I'll throw it out. You guys lean into it and add depth to it. I think it works. You guys ever want to do a list, though? You tell me. We'll find a way to
Spoken like
make
a
it
true
work.
control freak, but very well said.
Yeah, it's an element of that.